I've already done a character analysis on John Kirstein and Connie Springer. It's only right to do the third person, part of the Little Three, Sasha Browse. If you haven't read the manga, there'll be manga spoilers, so you've been warned. Sasha is a character that made it all the way until halfway through season 4, in about 80% of the manga, which is pretty impressive knowing basically any character you start to take a liking to eventually dies. We know that Eren, Mikasa, and Armin were the main three characters of the story, and fate had important roles for those three, as they were the ones chosen by destiny to make a choice to bring an end to the Titans. Jian, Sasha, and Connie are the side character three who still have pretty big roles in the anime, but ultimately they aren't the ones who have the world in their palms. They were free to make the choices that they made, and Sasha was able to live and die with her choices, free of will. In a sense, Mikasa, Eren, and Armin had a linear path that would lead to the ending, where Armin had the chance to help Mikasa make the choice of killing Eren, to end her love with him, or let Eren destroy the world. Mikasa had that choice right at the ending. None of this fate had to do with Sasha, which showed her free will from start to ending. Now that I got her role tied to the show and what she was able to do, let's get into her character, starting from the beginning. Sasha was a very memeable, likable, and relatable person. Who doesn't love food? Maybe not to the point I'd bite someone's arm to eat a delicious meal, but all the same. Jean got his nickname Horseface, and Sasha got nicknamed Potato Girl. Her character had to be made with the idea of the typical Idaho native. She's a hunter in the sticks that probably wanted to join the military just so she could eat whatever she pleases. Nothing wrong with some good eating. She's a very carefree, happy-go-lucky, glasses half full, not half empty type of person. In the training arc, she laughs and smiles while cutting up practice titans. She's really just living her best life. It's hard to hate her as a watcher or a character in the show. Connie and her become best friends, and yes, just friends, and basically family. Connie, after she dies, talks about how he lost his second half, his sister. Both are a little on the slower side, with Connie possibly being a little more stupid. Both make up with their combat abilities, however. She finds problems with Keith, the training instructor, due to her gluttony. She really expires the sin of gluttony. She would have made for a great homunculus and Full Metal Alchemist. Keith states her abilities and character as unusually fine instincts, but rarely shares them with her teammates. Shows she is strong, but the obvious trait of gluttony and wanting everything to herself, which can also show greed too. She's one of the most sincere characters in the show, and always shows good intentions. She tried, and successfully saved one of her teammates from falling off the wall when the Colossal Titan appears. She also stole some meat, but wanted to share with her teammates. She always looks out for others and never seems to do anything of harm to others. She is great for a team's morale, to having the skill and positivity a team needs. She, like John and Connie, are very human-like characters. The scene where they decide on joining the Scouts is the most human part of the show. They are all scared out of their minds of joining the Scouts, because that would mean having to constantly encounter the Titans, but she knows it's for the better society. She cries and whimpers while being frozen because she already encountered them. When Annie activates her Titan Scream, Sasha tries to warn Mikasa not to leave, because she knows the Titans are going to appear. She's never really the one to lead, command, and give strategies, but she surely executes the plans that she is given. And on top of that, she does have some good insight, due to her having a great nose and role experiences. Mikasa takes her word on when Sasha knows something terrible is going to happen, and even Mikasa recognized that Sasha's instincts are some of the best in the Scouts regiment. Her role experiences take her far with knowing when bad things come, great sharpshooting with the ODM gear and arrows, and overall combat experience. She did make number 9 of the cadet training when the first 5 were Titan shapeshifters. Might as well include Mikasa because she was basically a Titan in human form. As time goes on, she gets more brave. She's still scared of the Titans, but she's able to face them with more confidence as the show goes on. One of her biggest moments was saving the girl from a Titan with a bow and arrow. She was able to act with confidence and motivation to save the girl while still being scared for her life. Glad she made it out of this one because originally, this was where she was supposed to die, but Isayama thought it was too cruel and he couldn't go through with it. As time goes on, the Titans are nothing to her. Over-exaggeration, yes, but you get my point. She is able to make it through the Titan infestation when they are saving Eren. She really is a kind person because Even though they figured out Bertolt and Reiner were humanity's enemy, she wanted to believe that they were their allies and not enemies. She says, it's all one big misunderstanding, right? She knew it wasn't, but she wanted to believe in them because she's that kind of person, and kind from the bottom of her heart. We get towards season 4, nothing really fazed her at this point. Seeing all the Titan shapeshifters and Marley and all the people with weapons really doesn't do anything. She's able to pick people off left and right. We come towards the end of her journey where she got shot and killed by Gabby, Attack on Titan's worst character. This is factual, by the way, not opinionated. She died with her last words being meat, which are befitting for her. And then Eren remembers a scene where she was willing to share the meat she got. Pause. Eren had this memory because they all have been through a lot and she's one of the show's OGs. And just like her father states, it was a befitting death for her, since the world outside and inside their forest was kill or be killed. She did kill some like Gabby stated, so when she died, it was natural since this is the way the world was. The dad would rather for the kill or be killed scenario just be against animals and not humans from outside the walls, but sadly the world that adults created. Her influence was so strong that she had a Marleyan revoke his pride for his country due to her kind soul. Niccolo was a Marley soldier, but learned he just wanted to make people happy with his cooking since Sasha loved it so much. Her sincere personality can turn most depressed souls into easygoing ones, such as the little girl from the village, Nicolo, and Mikasa and Eren. She definitely rubbed off a lot on Mikasa and could have at least given her a little, form of entertainment since she was such a stoic character. It was never really officially said that Sasha and Nicolo were going out, but I believe that to be the case. The last shot we got of Sasha was when Eren was killed, and Connie and Johnny, of all people of course, saw the ghost of Sasha smiling doing the scout's pose. It was nice seeing this scene because it shows Sasha didn't really regret anything that happened, and she's happy with her death because it could finally bring peace upon her land and the end of Titans. She was happy with her death, her family came to terms with it, and she inspired and influenced the girl from the village and Nicolo. She was the least problematic character in the show and was a very lovable, memeable character at that. Long live the potato girl. It seems like you guys liked my Jean Kirstein character analysis, so I thought of making another one. I'm not saying Connie is my second favorite character, but he was the second person in mind for me to do one on. Probably since Jean, Connie, and Sasha were like the big secondary 3. Kind of like your discount 3. You got Coke, Sprite, and Dr. Pepper, and then you go a tier down and you go to RC Cola, Mellow Yellow, and Mountain Dew. Anyways, let's start talking about Connie Springer. He was obviously known between him and Sasha as the idiots of the show. Connie might have had the edge on stupidity due to that being more of his character, whereas Sasha was more known for being food-driven. He was ranked 8th on the 104 Cadet Top 10 graduates. That's pretty impressive, since knowing in the top 11 there are 5 Titan shapeshifters and a human Titan with Mikasa. He's from Ragako Village, which is in Walrose. His whole motive on joining the soldiers was on becoming an MP, so he can make his family proud. He had a pretty simple motive, with no crazy sad background, just like Jean. Just want to be on a high status to make his family proud. And with the whole thing revolving around making his family proud, it's also similar to why Reiner became a warrior. Living just to please your parents doesn't always end well for that person, and it definitely shows in this anime. Also, quick thing to take away from this video, if you were to remember one thing, or just get anything out of this. Don't live your life to please others. Live your life to please yourself. Life is short, so make it one that you live and not other people live for you. Anyways, so we find out that Connie's a pretty nice guy. He is able to talk on everyone's level. He's a great guy to have for the soldiers' morale due to feeling personal. And just like Jean and Sasha, he shows human aspects. He was scared out of his mind to join the Scouts, and hesitated because he knows how scary it is to confront the Titans. Why would one blindly join the Scouts when you see people screaming, getting their limbs torn off, and having to experience all of this pain? His huge development comes when they go to Ragako Village, and then he later finds out that the Titan that can't move is his mom. Like I said, his whole reason behind enlisting was to make his family proud. If she isn't alive, and all the rest of the family isn't alive, then this kind of defeats the purpose. At this point in time, Titans are still a mystery. We did know they were Eldians transformed, who can only become human again if they devour a Titan shapeshifter and drink their spinal fluid. So we were left wondering, if Titans are actually humans, then how did this happen? At this point in time, Connie wants to know the truth of the world just so he can find a cure for his mom. Ervin wants to find the truth of the world because, this was all from a young age with his father and how he kind of died. But Connie, he just wants to help save his mom. Connie might be stupid, but when it comes to family, he is pretty smart. He knows the second the Titan talks to him that it was her. He doesn't forget her either. And this isn't a one episode thing, and then, we kind of forget his new character motive. Even 100 chapters later, or 2 seasons later, he tries to feed Falco, a Titan shapeshifter, to his mother so she can become human again. Apparently, he has been seeing his mother frequently since knowing it was her. Connie keeps the whole family aspect of the show strong and continues to fight with the hope of saving Eldia and his more important goal, his mother. They say, one fighting with nothing to lose is dangerous, but a man fighting with a strong single-driven purpose can be even more dangerous. Another huge aspect of his character is his relationship with Sasha. I know plenty ship them, but it's obvious they are nothing more than just best friends. Connie even states how they were like brother and sister. He might have lost his mother, but he feels at ease since he gained a sister. He can fight at peace because he still has someone he can call family. When Jean and Sasha make it on the blimp, Connie hugs the both of them and states how happy he is, in particular that the both of them made it out alive, with the obvious plot twist that occurs. Connie was a pleasant character you don't realize you like as much until the show comes to an end. He always lightens up the mood in such a dark anime, and I love his constant bond of friendship he keeps with Jean and Sasha. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, and My Hero content. As you have seen with my most recent videos, I've been doing some John Kirstein compilations from seasons 1 through 3. I thought it'd be a good idea to do a character analysis on my favorite character on Attack on Titan, which is John. He goes through an extreme amount of character development in season 1, and he continues to grow throughout the episodes and seasons. He's one of the few characters with no sad background and grows up in an overall normal life, with normal goals, and was nothing more than a normal person that resonated with many other people. Marco is one who recognized that. Jean is also well known for apparently having a horse face, and it even gets brought up in the anime a few times. And lastly, who can forget his obvious infatuation for Mikasa? So let's get started with the character analysis for Jean Kirstein. There was an OVA that showed a little more into Jean's backstory before enrolling to be a soldier. He grew up spoiled from his mom, and the famous meme, omelet, came from it. Even as he grew up, his mom still pampered him, and he was close with her. What's crazy is that before meeting Mikasa, he drew a picture that resembled her. So once he finally met her, he was sold because she was actually what he pretty much dreamed and drew. Most characters we come to meet have sad backgrounds, such as Levi growing up in the underworld, Ervin's dad dying without him knowing the truth of the world, Eren seeing his mom getting eaten by a Titan, and so on and so on. When we get introduced to Jean, he's he's just a dick. He's overconfident in his skills, and he'll do what he needs to do in order to live the life that he wants to pursue. He's like Hannes. He wants to become strong, just so he can relax and live the easy life. Jean then enrolls to become a soldier because he's confident he has the skills to be a scout, but has no initiative for that. He grew up getting spoiled from his mother, and the lavish, lax life is something he wants to hold on to. Eren seeks freedom, whereas Jean considers chilling in Walsina as freedom. Jean and Hannes are a lot alike, and Eren discussed both of their views on the current situation for mankind. Jean and Eren fight right from the start, and continue all the way until the end of Season 3. Once we get through this soldier training, they actually had to face Titans. A lot of them were confident killing just cut out Titans, but the real ones made all of them scared for their lives. Jean is so scared that he can't move. He sees his comrades die, and yet he can't seem to do a thing. But even as scared as he is, he finds the strength to move forward with a mission. Jean might have the most compassion in the show. He feels bad for every death, and unlike Erwin, he doesn't want to sacrifice a single person. And he isn't some bold person like Eren, or some badass like Mikasa or Levi. He is truly a regular normal person. He might be a regular normal person, but he is very well rounded, being good in combat, leadership, and loyalty. The most developed he's gone through is once Marco dies. Jean feels what most would feel, which is a meaningless death and one where no one would even know what happened. He doesn't know how Marco went out, and no one up until this point didn't know either. When Jean decides to join on a regiment, he thinks back on what kind, wise words that Marco gave to him, which was, "I don't think you're a good leader because you're strong. I think it's because you know what it's like to be weak." He also thinks back on what Aaron said to him and realizes with what little power he has, he wants to make a difference in this world and bring change to the Eldians. He brings up how he doesn't want to become a lump of bones no one can distinguish multiple times. He shows his fear and weaknesses plenty of times and shows how he can relate to everyone else. He is what political candidates try to be, relatable. Jean becomes more confident going up against the Titans, but even as time goes on, he still cares for each person's well-being. In Season 2, he gets worried about the MPs when they drop like flies. But seeing how the MPs act and work, he's glad with the decision he made, even after all the shit he has seen. The compassion he has later becomes a weakness because in the show, it ends up becoming humans versus humans in the walls. Jean always thought it was humans versus Titans, but some humans gave up against the Titans and want to fight for what's left inside the walls. Jean can't find the strength to kill a human, and because of his hesitation, he almost gets killed. He is lucky Armin had the guts to pull the trigger for him. Jean and the whole character cast are constantly being introduced to new ideas, threats, and progression towards the goal of freedom. Jean keeps the idea of saving the people of Eldia while reducing the amount of people that have to die. He wants to preserve all of what's left in mankind. Season 1, he wanted to make a difference while making sure he doesn't die a meaningless, unknown death. In Season 4, he makes amends with whatever happens. He just wants to see true peace. Even after everything that happens, he wants all of the death and destruction to end. He's willing to join Marley, the people who put him through so much hell, and the people who are the reason that Marco died, as long as it means stopping the violence. Thanks for listening to my short 100-minute character analysis on Jean Kirstein. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, and My Hero Academia content. Voted the most popular character in any and every poll, debuted in Season 1, and is basically viewed as the main character when he isn't part of the big three. Ladies and gentlemen, the character that has carried my channel, Levi Ackerman. This video is a character analysis on him, so just a heads up, this contains things in the manga, so there will be spoilers later in the video. I'll put a time on the screen to show where the spoilers are, and I'll give a quick 15-second break before the spoilers section of this video. A lot of shonen anime have a male character that's considered attractive to guys and girls, and is usually seen as a badass, very strong, and always voted a top 3 character in popularity polls. For example, Naruto had Itachi, Full Metal Alchemist had Mustang, One Punch Man had Genos, and so on. Attack on Titan's character that would be viewed as this would be Levi Ackerman. Made exactly the type of debut you'd expect from this type of character in his anime appearance. Shows up, has a few badass lines, demonstrates his overwhelming strength, and then cut to black. The thing I'd like to contrast from the likes of these types of characters before I get more in depth on Levi is his willingness to follow orders. Most of these badass characters always rebel, do things on their own, and don't tend to do well in groups. Levi is quite the opposite. A lot of what we see in Season 1 is a huge surprise from what we all would have expected. We have all been conditioned to believe that this character will condone of Aaron's free spirit and rebellious nature, but it's quite the opposite. He's constantly teaching Aaron, other than how to clean of course, on how trusting your comrades and putting faith in others. Levi trusts any plan that Aaron comes up with, but it doesn't necessarily mean he fully agrees with it or doesn't have questions about it. When the female Titan was chasing the Levi squad, Aaron was ready to transform and take her on, but Levi stopped him from this and made him truly question if that was the right thing. Levi was given orders, and he put trust that the orders were for the better, and as we see a few seconds later, it seems to have worked in the moment. Sure, I do believe if Aaron was to transform, him and the Levi squad would have had a great chance, but at this point in time, Aaron can't control his Titan. Levi follows Aaron's commands all the way until Season 4, where he follows Aaron's suicide strategy and takes down the Beast Titan thanks to Aaron's guidance and plan. Aaron seems to put so much faith in the scouts due to Levi's lessons he gives to him. This was a fresh take on the typical badass male character in shonen anime. This was by far my favorite part about him. Now, let's get started. Levi debuted briefly in episode 4, season 1, but really made his mark and a true debut with the rest of the cast in episode 9, season 1. You can say his real debut didn't even come from the mainline anime. It actually came from the OVAs, which are called original video animations. The short videos that shed some light on the background of some characters and little story explanations and expansions you didn't even know you wanted or needed. For example, we found out that Jean lived a pretty normal life as a kid, which is great knowing that there's a character without the typical sad story. Levi had 2 OVAs dedicated to him in his beginnings before joining the Scouts. It was OVA number 4 and 5 named A Choice with No Regrets. These OVAs explained exactly why Levi said what he did to Eren during the chase from the female Titan. He was born in the slums of the underground where he almost died of starvation, but was luckily taken in by Kenny Ackerman, who taught him how to survive. Levi made a few friends in the underground, but seems he wasn't made for the underground with the skills he possessed. The Scouts were after him due to this knowledge. The OVAs are great too because they show just how strong Mike and Erwin are. Mike was second to Levi in strength, and Erwin was the commander, of course. They were both able to take Levi head-on and bully him. The anime didn't get to show how strong either were, and maybe Erwin got a little more justice, but they really did Mike dirty with the Beast Titan introduction. Erwin and the Scouts looked like villains taking Levi in, and Levi saw his friends die, and that was his Ackerman moment. Mikasa saw Eren almost die, and Levi saw his friends die. He then learned to live with no regrets and to follow the orders even if he didn't agree. Yeah, if you haven't watched the OVAs, I suggest you watch them. Low commitment and plenty of extra perspective into the show. I always wondered where he got the clean freak thing from though. Is it because he lived in a wasteland for so much of his childhood? Was it because the Scouts put his face into the mud? Is it all the blood he gets from cutting up Titans? Man keeps an area like it's a 5-star hotel. When we see him in episode 4, season 1, we obviously found out how strong he was. He's definitely a man who believes in the cause. He always wants their comrades' deaths to have meaning. He tells his comrade before he dies that his death brought up change and moving forward to the Scouts' goal of freedom and change. When we zoom over to episode 9, Eren gets Levi confused with Mikasa due to his Titan carving skills. We don't know at this point that Levi is an Ackerman, like Mikasa, and we have only seen her abilities at this point. When the troops are ready to take Eren, Armin, and Mikasa out, they stated that Mikasa was worth 100 of them. She was on a class of her own and finished first in her class. Once Levi came into the fray, we found out quick that there is strong and then there's godly strong. The female Titan fight made this very clear. Levi isn't one to act without questioning or come to a conclusion. He isn't a rash, spontaneous guy. When Eren transforms into a Titan, he doesn't immediately view him as evil. He even helps him in a weird way by beating his ass in front of everyone to make a point that he can control Eren and stop him if he ever wanted or needed to do so. We obviously find quick he has a unique personality. He isn't exactly static or monotone or stale. He has an interesting sense of humor and is very sarcastic. It's funny later how he gets annoyed with his height. Fun fact, he's listed as 5'3". The man is humanity's strongest, and he's shorter than the majority of the cast. The man is a midget. His battle strengths and emotional perseverance are strongly shown during the female Titan encounter. Levi saw his comrades' bodies, and it didn't even faze him in the slightest. When he caught up to Mikasa, he was ready to fight the Titan, not for revenge, but rather to save Eren since he was seen as humanity's hope. But once again, he doesn't act out of emotional impulses like Eren or Mikasa. Mikasa doesn't show much emotion until it has something to do with Eren. Mikasa acts recklessly and almost gets killed, but Levi saves her while retrieving Eren. And Levi is extremely smart. Mikasa is going for the kill, but Levi doesn't want to interact with it any further since he is right, they don't know all the tricks under its sleeves. We already found out that it can harden at any point in time, make it hard to cut. It can call out for Titans, and apparently it's a human transformer like Eren. Levi executed the mission in retrieving Eren, and that's all he wanted. He didn't go for revenge by going any further, just did what he needed and dipped. You see a glimpse of emotion when they dump the bodies, and Levi has a concerned face when they dump Petra's body specifically, the girl who admired Levi the most. Personally, I don't see them as a relationship, but rather really just admiration for his skills as a scout. This pretty much wraps up Season 1 for him, since he breaks his ankle saving Mikasa from being an idiot. He can't help when Annie invades the inner walls due to being hurt, but once they stop the female titan in the walls, Levi asks if it was all worth it. We see how many people died and all the destruction caused with plenty of buildings being torn down. Levi always asks Erwin before doing something that will sacrifice plenty if it's worth it, and says soon there won't be anyone to see the changes they bring since everyone will be dead by then. Season 2 is his least amount of on-screen time. He is still injured, and he's only on camera really to show Nick exactly what being silent has done for mankind inside these walls. Pastor Nick thought of the walls as God, and knew a little about what was going on and kept it a secret. But Levi, even after everything which he states in Season 3 when Nick gets killed, he respects that he was a man of his convictions. He can respect someone even as scummy as they are if they stick to what they believe in. But Levi truly cares for mankind and shows Nick how they all live. And he can obviously understand and feel the way they do, since he was in an even worse situation than plenty of them. Season 3 started off with the distrust of the scouts and humans versus humans. We have seen the show up until this point as humans versus titans, but now it's become humans versus titans and humans. Jean was unable to come to terms with this awful idea, but Levi, he doesn't get fazed by anything, so he has no problem getting his hands as dirty as they need in order to achieve the goal of the scouts. I guess being a scout, how can you be fazed by anything? You've seen it all at this point, to be honest. Levi shows he isn't just a Titan Godslayer either, he is also able to decimate humans as well. This is really a don't bring a gun to a sword fight meme. Levi kills Kenny's MP squad with regular ODM gear, and it's crazy how quick of a thinker he is. Levi was able to dive into a bar and hide underneath the bartender's table, knowing well that he would have a gun and use this knowledge to surprise Kenny. But Kenny gives it up to him, saying how smart and cunning he is. When you make it out of the underground the way Levi did, you would find any and every way on how to make it out of any environment or situation. Amazing that Levi, Kenny, and Mikasa are part of the same clan, and yet none of them are too similar. Levi and Kenny are like night and day in their differences. Kenny's goal is so self-centered, and he's very upbeat, whereas Levi is very team and self-sacrificial and calm. The Ackerman's ability to follow through with a goal is almost scary. Kenny will do anything to see his goal through, and was tunnel-driven after talking to Yuri. Mikasa will do anything to keep Eren safe, and Levi will do anything to see the scouts succeed in whatever way Eren sees fit. Kenny gives a great monologue on how everyone is drunk on something. I don't think Levi's is as obvious as Mikasa, Eren, and Armin, but he'll do anything for the scouts and live by the scouts' way. By the time we get over the scouts versus MP arc, we then head into one of the most crucial and fight-heavy arcs in the show. The scouts versus Reiner, Bertolt, and Zeke. You have to feel bad for Levi because every time he's in charge of people and forms a squad, everyone dies but Levi. Levi's OG squad with his two friends from the underground die, then his squad during the female Titan arc, then his squad that fought the MPs, then the squad that fought Zeke up until this point. So at this point, I'd rather just work by myself because this has become a reoccurring theme. Levi makes the final stand with Erwin against the Beast Titan. There are 3 fights going on at this time. Eren and Armin versus the Colossal, Jean, Connie, Sasha, and Mikasa versus the Armored, and Levi and Erwin versus the Beast. The Beast Titan is the smartest and most offensive Titan wielder out of the 3. Zeke is on a class of his own and was able to whoop Reiner's ass with ease. He wipes out most of the scouts too. When the scouts are on death's door, Eren comes up with a plan to stop the Beast Titan. And when Erwin is having self-doubt because he wants to reach the basement but stop the Beast Titan, Levi tells him to lead the scouts to hell one last time. He knows this is a suicide plan, and he goes through with the plan that Erwin gave him. In the end, Levi stops the Beast Titan, but doesn't sadly get a chance to use this Titan serum on him. His goal at this point in time has become obvious, and he even states it towards the end of the show in manga by stating that he will fulfill the promise he made to Erwin. His goal is to kill the Beast Titan. Levi versus the Beast Titan becomes more of a meme than Eren versus Reiner later on. And honestly, it keeps getting amazing just how strong Levi is. It's like characters in One Punch Man seeing how strong Saitama is. Levi seems to one-up himself every time. First, it's the fight versus the female Titan, then versus the MPs and Kenny, then versus the Beast Titan, then versus Marley and the Jaws Titan, and then versus the Beast Titan Part 2. The Ackermans are like the Senju or Uchiha clan in Naruto. and Levi is Madara or Hashirama, or I guess the both combined. Now I'm coming to an endpoint of the character analysis, and we've covered a lot of seasons 1 through 3. This video can easily be 1 hour long, but I'd rather this not be a month-long project. We are coming up on the final season here, so this is where the spoilers will be. You've been warned. A lot of the characters grow up from seasons 3 to 4, and Levi looks absolutely no different. When the plan was to capture the Beast Titan, you can tell Levi did it with a clear intent of wanting to kill him. You can see it on his face, and Zeke even states this when he's on the blimp. Levi once again gets tasked a full regiment and is basically babysitting Zeke until they figure out what to do with him. We have figured out at this point in time that normal Eldians are able to be turned into Titans, and only Titans that get spinal fluid of a Titan shapeshifter are able to turn back. The realization of this for Levi doesn't really faze him too much, but he does hate the fact that he's basically been slicing up people he's been trying to free and save. When Zeke transforms all of them, Levi hesitates for a second, but then like Erwin, he thinks of the bigger picture. He kills them with ease and catches up to Zeke. Erwin was always able to sacrifice anyone and everyone for the goals of the Scouts. His ethics and morals are what made him a devil, but all the Scouts see him. He was just a necessary devil. It's like business and sports. You hate the business side of sports, but in order for sports to be a thing, you need the business aspect of it. Levi has already killed plenty of his comrades, whether a Titan or an MP. Zeke really had to be stupid to think he wouldn't have killed all of them. The Scouts are this far in the game, and there's nothing that would stop him at this point in time. The one thing that seemed out of character for Levi was how he contained Zeke after beating him. If Zeke was going to die either way, why wouldn't he just tick off the trap so they both would die? He would have at least had a better chance of survival since he's a Titan with regeneration. Levi has made plenty of smart, quick decisions, and this move was absolutely stupid on his part. The end of the show and manga becomes who is the true villain. The Titans were initially the enemy, then more and more there was internal strife with humans in the walls becoming the enemy as well, and then Marley becoming the enemies who made all this happen. We went 3 seasons viewing the perspective of Eldia, so we see them as the victims and heroes. But then we see Marley's point of view and see everyone get portrayed as the victim. Eren, the main protagonist in Season 4, gets viewed more and more as the antagonist. Zeke was always seen as the enemy, and it seems Eren is working with Zeke, so no one knows who's who and what is what. Levi starts to question if saving Eren was the right thing to do over and over and over. He wonders if Eren was the key to the future and if all the Scouts died in vain. Protecting Eren was essentially protecting the Scouts' vision. It definitely does feel like what the hell is going on in my head hurts moment all of Season 4 with so many betrayals and side views. No one knows, but Eren, he isn't siding with Zeke. Eren had his own idea, which was to eradicate everyone outside of Eldia. And to be honest, it was more or less to give Mikasa the chance to kill him so it could bring the end of the Titans. No one knows this but him, so Zeke and the rest of the Scouts want to kill him because they don't think killing the rest of the world is the answer. The Scouts realize that Marley and themselves have been in this world, and seeking revenge will never answer anything. Levi knows ending Zeke and Eren's life would bring about the change the Scouts wanted, and when he slices Zeke's head, he feels he truly accomplished his goal, which was Eren's goal, which was the Scouts' goal. This was basically his he can die in peace moment. At the end, when the Titans all perish, Levi can see all of the dead Scouts and feel at peace believing he accomplished their goal from Season 1. He puts his hand on his heart and dedicates his heart one last time. He never strays from the goal of doing whatever the Scouts needed of him. He stays true to himself and manages to do stronger and more amazing combat feats that can top the previous. Levi was a character that lived from beginning to end, which is very surprising because very few did that. My favorite part of him, like I stated very early in the video, was him being a badass character that actually followed orders and rules. Long live Levi, and this has been my Levi Ackerman character analysis. Like and subscribe for more Attack on Titan, One Punch Man, My Hero Academia, and all anime content.